Hey guys, hey, what's up? For my bipolar peeps, mentally unstable people in general, um, you know, the non-neurotypicals, what's up? And you neurotypicals out there who just want to learn and hear a fun story, fun story, of manicness. Anyway, so I've done 4 episodes already. I say episodes like my bipolar manic anime. But I've done 4 videos that lead up to this one. This one's my 5th, so my 5th episode of the anime, not of just manic. This is still my first manic episode, but whatever. Point is, where we last left off, I was getting taken to the physical hospital by a cop. And I was just super manic, psychotic, just thinking Christ consciousness, like I was Jesus kind of thing. And that's kind of where we left off. So, we'll start this video going into the physical hospital. So they took me, or the cop took me to the physical hospital. And I was there. And, I guess they just wanted to see what the fuck was up with me. So, the first thing I can remember is that I was taken into a room, and the nurse that came in, I don't know if it was because I was manic, hypersexuality, all that kind of stuff, or if the college that I was at for like, 4 months prior, or prior for 4 to 6 months, just had really ugly girls there. But this girl looked so hot to me. Like, I was like, holy shit. And I told her, because when you're manic, you do not care about telling people how hot you think they are. At all. So I was like, you are the most beautiful person I've ever seen. And she, like, I'm sure I made her day. Like, she was really, really happy. And I was like, oh my god, just like really trying to flirt on this girl, this nurse. And so like that what was going on at first. And yeah, she seemed like really smitten by that. But so that was one thing. But then after that point, they wanted to take my blood. And I don't know if they misheard my name or if I just was seeing shit that wasn't there. But when they put the band around my arm, my name's Evan. And I said, when they put the band around my arm, the name was Adam. So of course, I, in my manic psychosis, was like, yo, Jesus Christ consciousness, Adam's first man. I'm like the first man that ever existed. Like, I'm just like the first man that ever existed. I'm like all this shit. So like that's how it went down. Like that was the thought there. Anyway, but then they wanted to take my blood. And as soon as they came with it, I started like freaking the fuck out, dude. I don't know what the symbolism behind the blood was, but I was just like, no more like taking of the blood. Like, don't take anyone's blood. Like, this is sacred. I don't know what was going on, but basically like we have to take your blood. But I was freaking out, so they kind of like met me halfway where I was. And I was like, you can take my blood, but I will be the last person you do it. All of these people here that you're about to take their blood, you're stopping forever. And they were like, yeah, okay, yeah, sure, we'll do that. But obviously, so they're not gonna do that, but like, that's what they told me, and I was like, fine. And so like, they took my blood. I was like, oh man, I'm a martyr. Like, I'm like the savior of everything, because like I stopped, needles, I guess, and taking blood from people. Anyway, so that's where I was. But so that was going on, and for whatever, there was like some power issues in the thing, and that was messing up, so that like made me think things were more intense than they were. like, because the people were like, what's going on with the computers or whatever. But anyway, um, and then there were people like crying and all stuff because it's a hospital, people are dying, blah, blah, blah. Anytime I saw somebody that was like crying or whatever, I started whistling. I started whistling at everybody, and I was like, I started pointing up to like God or whatever. And some people actually, just because like the sentiment of like, you're about to die, or I guess like, things are going really bad. Like if someone's like, remember God or something, maybe that'll help you out. And it did for like a couple of people. And like that was my intention. I was never trying to like flirt while I was whistling, but like one of the like the comp or like one of the hospital people, like I did to like a girl, and they were like, don't whistle at girls, and I was like, okay, fine. So like I stopped doing that. And about that time when that happened, my mom rolls in, and oh my god, it was heartbreaking. She like was just in tears hearing about all this stuff, seeing me. And like that's not something that like I could really register at the time. Like I thought things were like the best that they could ever be, but when you see, I saw my mom come out and like was crying seeing me, and she brought me hot fries, which is why she's like the sweetest person of all time. It's because like I've always loved Andy Capp's hot fries ever since like a little guy, like kindergarten. And so she brought me hot fries because like she's just the sweetest person. But yeah, she was crying, and so that was like really hard to see. But then like my mind like quickly drifted off somewhere else, and I was thinking of like the duality between like the Antichrist and Christ, and I thought like the whole, I don't know if I think I touched on this a little bit, where I was thinking like the equivocations of like what the Bible was, and I thought like the whole thing was just a trick to somehow like beat the devil, like all these words, because I heard somewhere that like the devil can hear your words but he can't hear your thoughts, and God can. So it was weird. And I was thinking about cancer and some, because like I think at some point I like wanted cancer just to like, I don't know, go through it, because a lot of these, like when I'm manic, a lot of these things are like I want to experience a terrible thing. Like I really had like a pull towards wanting to, experience and learn from like things that people weren't brave enough, or like in my head brave enough, but like that didn't want to do. So that's kind of how that went down. But I started thinking like, I don't know, there was like this really dirty spot on like my toe. I guess because I was like walking around, like I just got out of jail, and I was like walking around in the like woods and all this other shit, and I was like barefoot. Anyway, there's a dirty, and I like thought it was like the cancer that I want, that was like there, that was like in like the Antichrist kind of thing. It was like crazy, but it was like, yeah, I don't know how it like looped together, but I thought the devil doesn't know that I'm doing this, but I like took it off, and I thought in my head that this is all of the cancer, this is like the bad thing, and I like flicked it, I don't know, like this dirty spot, like dirt or whatever, and I was like, that's off of me forever. And like the devil thinks he can do it, but at the very end, because I did that one thing, I'm going to be, safe. Anyway, so that's what happened. At the hospital, they were like, yeah, no, he's fine, he's just really high. Because I could tell that like I had, THC in me and all this stuff, and they did all like the blood work and all that other shit. So, they let me go, and, my mom and her boyfriend at the time drove me to their place, at which the next day I would go back to my dad's house. So I go back to my dad's house, and I'm still manic. Like I'm still, like, because that's the thing, when you get triggered into a mania, you can be completely sober and still be manic. So like I still, I wasn't high, but I was still like, all those thoughts, still I'm bouncing from one thing to another, making giant leaps of, like assumptions that just aren't there. And so I'm just at my dad's house, and I think I'm telling like my sister that like everybody that is an adult doesn't have to sleep. Okay, because like I was manic, so like I wasn't sleeping, and I had never like did that. So like, and when I was in jail, like I pretended to sleep, and I thought some other people were pretending to sleep to do that. So like, I also put together that like when you reach a certain age, you just stop sleeping and you just pretend to sleep. So I was trying to tell like my sister about that, and like that's another like symbolism for like the vampires that are like going on, like that kind of creature fantasy thing. And I'm going off. She's like, "What?" But like, so I'm telling her that, but like also at that time I'm just doing a bunch of weird stuff. Like I was like, dude, fuck gender roles. I was like, let's go crazy. And because I talked to one of my friends recently, and she reminded me that I did this. And she's like, you have to say this because it's hilarious. I was like, okay, I'll remember to put it in. But I put on a tutu, and I don't know what else I put on, but I was wearing a tutu. And so I'm just going through the house doing all that stuff, and my sister and I think my older brother at the time were like, what's going on? Like, what is he doing? But I wanted to call the cops because I think in some part of me I wanted to go to like a mental hospital. So I called the cops and was like, yo, I need you over here right now. And so the cops came, and my brother and my sister were like, what the fuck is going on? You're in a tutu? What the goddamn fuck are you doing? So, they come and they're just talking to me, and I'm telling them all these grandiose ideas of everything and how the world works and what it all is, and basically I'm like, I love it all and all this stuff, but I had like a big problem with like technology and all this stuff. I thought it was like taking us away from like, you know, being together as people and like growing spiritually and all this stuff. So I was like, I just want to destroy everything. And as I did that, I took a raw onion in front of the cops while wearing a tutu. I took an onion and I just ate it. And to this day, my sister goes, I will never forget the day that you were wearing a tutu and ate a raw onion in front of a cop and said you wanted to destroy everything. But anyways, so the like cops like looking at me like, what the fuck is going on? And then yeah, so they saw that, and they were just like, he's so close. Like, I guess not like to that, but like this is what I heard. I guess he was like, but you're just off. I think because he just said like, it's what I said. I was loving everything and all that stuff, but I wanted to destroy all like the technology and everything and go back to where it was. I think he was like, you're close, but like you're just that one thing is like off. And like to me, because that one cop said that other shit when I was in jail, and because this, I still thought like the cops knew something that we don't fucking know, and they're waiting for some person to come and save shit, dude. Like save the earth, kind of crazy ass shit. So like, basically at that point they were like, do you want to go to a mental hospital? And I was like, yeah, let's do this. Because at some point, I also, like, when I said, like, the things that I want to do that other people don't want to do so I get the experience, I was feeling that, and I was also like, if I'm going to save the world from itself, I need to be a person of the system. Like, I have to go through, like, mental hospitals. I have to, like, I thought I had to go through, like, all college, like, spend my life in school, like, learn everything, all of the truth, and, like, of authority. So what I felt like I had to meet them at that level before I said, look, we need extreme reform. So like that was what it was. So I was like, yeah, let's go to the mental hospital. So I don't know, I guess an ambulance came and they took me, or started making their way to taking me to the mental hospital. And I think this is going to be like a short little episode, but I think I'm going to upload the next one very soon. Gonna leave it there just because I want the whole experience of my first mental hospital to be in one episode. And I think of like all of my manic stories and everything. I don't know, I have a soft spot for my mental hospital visits because I don't know, there's some crazy cool stories, but also like I feel like in some way I did learn a lot from each one. So I'm gonna leave it there, and next time we'll talk about my first mental hospital visit, which should be interesting. Bye bye non-neurotypicals and all of you cross-watching neurotypicals. Bye guys. And just remember, whatever you do, don't kill yourself. It can always get better.